Right. So I want to do a little, best hits edition. Let's just go through the candidates in a lightning round. I don't really think we need to go through Joe Biden. He's Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Margaret Thatcher combined. Or
with Alzheimer's on top of it.
well, I won't go that far, but there's. I've been saying like I'm not a doctor, but there's clearly anyone with eyes, something's going on. So
something's very much wrong.
yeah. So Kamala Harris. I don't really know what her signature plan is because she changes it all the time. And really, she's kind of like Hillary Clinton as far as just poll-tested words. I'm the best to prosecute the case because somebody told her in a poll that polled well. Her Medicare for All plan is just a bastardization. It's not really Medicare for All because it's not run by the government. So for people who claim or think of themselves as progressives, what is your thoughts on whatever her proposals are?
She is probably the worst of the candidates. She is a zinger. She's got the debate skills to throw zingers in there that make you go, she just did a great zinger there. But that doesn't equal governance. And everything she's about is privatization. She is the very definition of a neoliberal. Everything she's doing is protecting capital. Everything that she's doing is about fattening capital, growing markets. None of it is about taking care of the people. Even when she pays lip service and says the right social things on the top of it, the minute you look under it, she's immediately balkanized people, split it off. Oh, these people under these conditions will get this little thing. These people over here, not so much. And that right there creates the very hatred that the right and the center and the independents have for the Democrats. They have always pulled this balkanization bullshit where they divide us up into little slices and they say, well, this group gets this and this group gets that. Bernie Sanders, thank God, doesn't do that. So Kamala, no way.
So then we move to Elizabeth Warren, who, to me, when Elizabeth Warren got into the Senate, I think she was kind of like Hillary Clinton when she was first lady. Like there was more natural progressive roots, but then somebody got to her because she seems to be kind of like a canvas that's repainted wherever she goes, whoever she's talking to. She's for capital M Medicare for all some of the time. Other times she speaks, let's get everybody to the table. And, there's a lot of different options. I don't know if she's going to fight for Medicare for all. She also seems to think that really the key is not structurally changing the system. It's just regulating to death the system, where we do need tighter regulation. But as far as I'm concerned, there were regulations. There were regulatory bodies that were supposed to be regulating the banks. How'd that work out? There are regulatory bodies that are supposed to be regulating the communications industry. How's that working out? There's a regulatory body known as the FEC that's supposed to regulate money in politics. It's a joke. So if you could regulate till you're blue in the face, but if it has no teeth because the money is still in the system, it's all for naught.
My opinion on Liz Warren is a mixed bag. It's really difficult because I happen to know some of her advisors, and I know them well. And they're good people, and they try and sell me Elizabeth Warren quite frequently, at least in terms of they call her the silver package as opposed to Bernie's platinum package. And, I look at this and I say,
wait. Slow down. Her advisors have told you she's the silver package as opposed to.
Right. Well, when I'm talking to them, the bottom line is they recognize Bernie's programs are far more far-reaching. They're far more robust. They're far more visionary. And they realize that Elizabeth Warren has taken a different calculus. She's trying to appease the center. She's trying to appease the establishment while simultaneously trying to eke into progressive areas to try and bring some fringe progressives back into the center. So her calculus is very, very different than Bernie Sanders, for example, or Tulsi or any of the others. I will tell you that she has some good programs. They're not as good. They're not nearly as good. And because they're not nearly as good, you start asking yourself, well, why didn't she go a little further? And you realize she's willing to leave people untaken care. I mean, I'm not a Liz Warren fan at all. I can certainly understand why people would see her in a far more favorable light than many of the other candidates. But but quite frankly, it doesn't take a lot to dig past the surface to see, number one, she's chasing Hillary Clinton around already, trying to get into her good graces. She's chasing the establishment everywhere she goes. She did a lot of faux-aggressive fundraising. She's done an incredible amount of things that, in my opinion, make her a non-starter for me. I think that anybody that took a look at her bold statement that, of course, she's a capitalist. She loves markets, right? That right there ended my support for her in one fell swoop, because she also believes that a Green New Deal should be funded by selling green energy around the world. Why not give this stuff away? This is a public good. We're trying to save our lives, not earn money that we create out of thin air to begin with. See, she's trying to fatten capital. She's trying to tip her hat to the capitalists, saying, don't worry, you're still going to make money under my administration. And in my opinion, the reality is that you either believe we're in crisis, we either have a climate crisis, or we do not have a climate crisis. The idea of capital winning is just ridiculous. I mean, it's not even a consideration to me. We need to solve this problem yesterday, and Liz Warren, not my book.
And to me, something not talked about enough. A lot of people that are, I think, a little less cynical than I, haven't seen as much as I around the country, really believe in this idea, well, people sometimes do truly evolve. Maybe so. I have a hard time if I'm given the choice between Bernie Sanders or somebody who voted twice for Ronald Reagan in their 30s. I mean, she was a very intelligent woman. She was a professor at Harvard, I think after that. But even in her 30s, when she made these decisions, she was well-read, well-educated. So to me, yeah, maybe you've evolved to the point where you're no longer a batshit Republican. Maybe you've evolved to the point where, you understand trickle down was a hoax and you got hoodwinked. But there's got to be somewhere deep down some of those more conservative roots.
Well, I will tell you this, and I wouldn't use this, and I'll tell you why. I came from conservative right-wing background, very, very conservative, very, very right-wing, Judeo-Christian, Christo-fascist, man. I was a Rush Limbaugh listener, you name it, back in the day. And I had a huge epiphany. I mean, life changed on a dime for me. And I think a lot of it had to do with learning modern monetary theory, but I think a lot of it also had to do with I became a human being finally. And I drifted through life. This is what mommy and daddy had been and told me. So I do think that you can change. You look at Tulsi, she came from a very conservative background as well. And so I think that people can and do evolve. I don't think they evolve in a political cycle, though. And I think that you're looking at Elizabeth Warren and you're saying she is what we thought she was. She came out there and she said all the right words when there was nothing on the line. Now that something's on the line, you're watching, she continually hedges her bets, continually errs to the conservative side of things. Just no bueno, man. We got real structural change that has to happen, and she's not the answer.
So that brings us down to, frankly, I think the media is propping up Warren to knock out Bernie. I think if they were successful in knocking out Bernie, when I say knocking out Bernie, I'm talking him finishing third in Iowa, maybe then the wind coming out of his sails a little bit. Then I think they would turn on her. Not because I think they think she's such a threat, but because why wouldn't they want Biden? I mean, I think they prefer Trump for four more years and keep those ratings. People are going to be scared shitless if Trump wins re-election for good reason. And CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, the profits, the clicks, they all stay, maybe grow. But do you see this media game? Because when you watch CNN, it's as much free airtime as they gave Trump. They're giving a lot of free airtime to Warren as well.
I personally believe that Warren is the establishment choice. I don't believe it's Biden. I believe that Biden was floated out there based on the Obama years and hoping that somehow or another that would engender some sort of loyalty there. I think Biden has said so many dumb things that even his most loyal, sycophants can't defend. So I think Biden, I don't want to, he's a wounded dog. You never want to count a wounded dog out here, right? But I think that Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris are the two that have the establishment's interest. I think they'd like to be able to prop a woman up there, which I think we all would like to see a woman president at some point in time. We just want to make sure it's the right woman president. And I don't think either of these ladies is, an adequate representative of our nation.
And lastly, what for MMT, if it were Biden versus Trump, or even Warren versus Trump, or name your pick that's not Bernie, wouldn't that kind of be a step backwards as far as these principles? Because really, between Biden and Trump, you're just going to be debating, artificial surface things, recapturing the soul of America, whatever that means. Trump,
Exactly.
Trump talking about this booming economy that's just booming for his class, and Warren, I don't think you'd have a meaty debate. Whereas Bernie, you have a debate really on the grounds of what are our priorities and changing the system.
That's right. I look at it like this. No matter who gets elected, we've got a lot of work to do. Even if Bernie gets elected, we have an incredible amount of work to do. And I really do worry that even in our own burner community and the larger progressive community, that you see people that think that if they get Bernie in there, that their job is done. They can go sipping lattes at brunch. And the reality is that we've got an incredible amount of work to do. AOC, we got to prop people like AOC up. We need to get people that, and AOC, she's not 100% MMT, because it's not that she's not MMT. It's that she doesn't fully understand it, right? She's getting there. She did masterful work there with when she was going up against the Fed chair, and she broke down the Phillips curve, and she broke down a lot of really, really strongholds about unemployment numbers, and she did great work. So there's people in the wings there that Bernie has planted his seed throughout, and the MMT community has been growing. Whether people acknowledge it or not, they're going to watch this thing continue to unfold. And I think whether Bernie's the nominee or not, MMT, the people that know MMT are not going back to sleep. We are the most woke people on the planet, and we're fighting tooth and nail around the clock to bring about these things, whether it's by having a sympathetic candidate like Bernie in the White House, or whether we're going against a hostile one where we just demand, we insist, and we build mass movement to actually force that to happen. I think you're going to see that continue to grow, because you can't turn the lights off once you've understood how the system actually works.
Right. Thank you very much, my friend. I'm sure we'll be staying in touch as the campaign develops. How can people check out your work and others at Real Progressives?
Absolutely. So come on, see us over there at Real Progressives on Facebook, our YouTube channel. Please come on over there. We have a podcast that is really the flagship of what we're doing. It's called Macro and Cheese. You can see us at macroandcheese.com. Macro, the letter N, and then cheese.com. Great podcasts, every one of them incredibly informative. No hyperbole, just the experts coming in to talk. And I think that you'll find it incredibly enlightening and fun to listen to.
I have a problem, though, because I'm lactose intolerant.
Well, we'll use lactose-free the cheese.
All right. Thanks again, man.
You got it, buddy.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statusquo.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.